All praises to Yahweh Ba'Hasham Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hasham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video that I'm going to make, man, and people can take the information or not take it, man, but this is like a video, and I guess you could call it a warning, but it's just a point that I want to put out there of how, remember that Eve, right, the Israelite woman, is from Jacob as well, man. And what does Jacob mean, right? Jacob means supplanter. Now, let me go to Jeremiah, in fact, Jeremiah 9. This is Jeremiah chapter 9 and verse 5. In fact, verse 4. Take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother, for every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders, and they will deceive every one his neighbor, and will not speak the truth. They have taught their tongue to speak lies, and weary themselves to commit iniquity, and no one does this more than the Israelite woman, right? And I saw a comment on a video where there was a woman that was crying on the camera because she lost her job or something like that. One of an Israelite put this video out there. The woman was crying on the video because she lost her job, and there was another video where the woman was crying and like she was like saying, "Oh, they tricked us, right?" And then I looked through the comments, and then one person said, "Oh," one Jake said, "Oh, now you want to say they tricked us, right?" But they didn't mind about being tricked when it was benefiting them, right? And that was a beautiful point that they mentioned, because before, when the tricks was making them get treats, right? They didn't business about getting tricked. They didn't care about, oh, this is bad. Do you think they didn't know that it was wrong for them to be getting power over men all the time back when they was getting it? You think they didn't know that it was wrong for a woman to be able to divorce a man after she committed adultery on him and run off with his children, his house? He has to pay her half. You think they didn't know that? You think that the women of our nation didn't know these things when it was happening? No, they knew, but they didn't care, right? Now, this point goes all the way back to the book of Genesis, how Eve they tricked us. The serpent tricked me, right? But let me just put this question out there. When Eve realized that the serpent tricked her, did she still die? Or did Yahweh say, "Oh, sorry, love, you should have said that before. I was about to punish you with birth pains and make your desire to be unto your husband. But since the serpent beguiled you, only I'm going to punish the serpent now. You're free. You're free. You're off. You're off from the punishment, love." You should have said, no, she still got punished, man. She died. Adam died. And everyone that's came after that's died too. She didn't escape because, he tricked me. She tried to do the same thing that you women try and do now, man. Pass the blame, man. Now, the serpent did trick her. But guess what? Eve wanted to be a god, right? She was running around trying to find extra information off man's, trying to find out something, trying to look for something new, man. Gallivanting up the Garden of Eden, trying to find something new. Trying to find some new thing to try and slide off with, man. That's what she was doing. And then didn't have it within her, the integrity within her to just fall alone. She couldn't just handle that. If she thought that she really, when you read the scriptures, it said she wanted to go. You know what? Let me read it, man. Let's read it. Right, Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord Yahweh had made, and he said unto the woman, Yea, have Yahweh said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh said, We shall not eat of it, neither shall we touch it, lest ye die. Now, so she knew the rules, man. She knew the rules, right? She knew what was good, and she knew what was bad in the eyes of Yahweh. She knew what the right thing to do was, and she knew what the right thing to not do was. And it's the same thing when she was so-called tricked by Esau. Now, she knew what it was. She knew that it was the right thing for her to not be having power over man. She knew that it wasn't the right position to have, but she was like, I'm going to ride this till the wheels fall off. And then when I get caught out, I'm just gonna say blah 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 this and that. I remember there was a case before, a court case, where some Edomite he unalived a little 2-year-old man. Right, he was like 16, 18 or something like that. He unalived a 2-year-old or something like that, right? And he said, "All I'm a blonde hair, blue eyes. All I have to do is cry or something like that, maybe, and then they'll let me go." He had those texts on his messages to his mom, and then they ended up reading them in his court case, and them tears that he was fake tears that he was crying out, man, them shits dried up real quick, right? That shit dried up real quick, man, because he got caught out, that he understood that the system's unfair and was trying to manipulate it, right? But it didn't work for him this time round, man, and it's not gonna work for you women, because Eve told the serpent the rules. The serpent said to her the rules one way, but she told him back the rules the real way. She was like, "No, we can eat of the fruits of the trees. It's just only this place. We ain't supposed to try and do nothing with this place over here." Right? But verse 3, but the fruit which of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh have said ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. So that's when the serpent came with some slick stuff, man. Right? So just imagine in this society now, Eve gets told by Esau, "Oh, you know that if the man rules over you, then you're in a lesser position, right?" And then she comes with some, "No, we're not in a lesser position. If the man's supposed to rule, the man's supposed to be in charge. He's the protector. He's the stronger. He's the one that's more wise." So she know, and then she starts letting it be known she actually knows the right way, right? I'm not supposed to be a single mom. So serpent comes with her, "You know, you don't need to have a man to be in a relationship, to be live in the house, right?" She's like, "No, I do need to have a man. I'm supposed to have a man here, right? The man's supposed to be," and then he comes with some, "But there's other ways that you can be in a house. You know that we can offer you child support payments if you're not with him. You know, we can still give you some money from him, even if you're not with him anymore, right?" Do you know what I mean? He come with his slick ass, right? With his serpent ass tongue. Esau, man. Because it weren't no snake, man. The serpent coming, slithering around again in this tight day and era, man. He came like that. You know you shall not surely die. Come slick with his slick tongue, man. Tricking Eve, right? But Eve knew what the right thing was to do. So did he really trick her? Or did he come up with a persuasive way for her to accept the wickedness? That's for us to consider, man. Did he really trick her? Or did he come with some slick way for her to accept being wicked, man? Right now, he did trick her, but she knew the right thing to do. So can she really say she was tricked, man? Verse 5: For Yahweh doth know in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. So Eve was started to think, "Oh, so they're trying to keep me back from my power, right? They're trying to keep me back from having all of this stuff." But then here's the thing: Eve wanted this. Eve wanted this, man. She wanted to be a god knowing good and evil. That's why she did it. She didn't care that she was not supposed to eat thereof. She didn't care she wasn't supposed to do whatever it was that she was told not to do. She didn't care, man. Right? Verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So she wasn't prepared to just do the wrong thing alone. She made sure that he did it as well. And that's heavy, because it shows that no matter how much these women talk, man, they still always want a man around that's better than them. Because she was getting offered the ability to be a god, knowing good and evil, right? And that would have made her, if let's say she would have achieved it, surely that would have made her higher than Adam then. But she wasn't happy with that. She wanted Adam to be higher than her, because Adam was already higher than her anyway. And then if they both get the same knowledge, Adam still becomes higher than her. And the proof that Adam still became higher than her is after she did it. her desire, the punishment was, one of the punishments was that her desire was going to be to her husband. But it's just funny that in this time now, women still come up with the same thing. The women of our nation still want to come up with the same thing as they said back in the day. Because they'll be like, oh, he tricked me. He tricked me and made me think that I'm supposed to be higher than you men. And then this and then that. And now I've lost my job and I can't afford this and I can't afford that. And now I've realized that I've been tricked. Can you pay all my bills? Huh? Who you talking to? What are you on about? Okay, you've realized you've been tricked. Okay, congratulations. Don't try and put no financial burden on none of the brothers now. Because you realize, now all of a sudden you realize you've been tricked. Now you've realized you've been tricked and you want to humble yourself now. Now that means that the men of our nation of Israel that are already catching hell down here are now supposed to take you on as a financial burden. You better read Isaiah 4:1. When you humble yourself, when all you women decide to finally humble yourselves and go to the men that you know have been telling you the truth the whole time, don't try and come to them with no financial burden. Okay, so I normally get my nails done. They're $250. What? What are you telling me for? What are you telling me for? What are you telling any brother that for? So my rent's normally, huh? What are you on about? Why are you telling him for? What you mean your rent's what? What's that? That's not none of our, we're not accountants. So why are you telling us your financial woes for, man? Deal with it yourself. Right? Don't try and think you can try and, we was tricked and then talk all this, come on now, Mr. 50-50 and all that. No. You still can pay 100 of your own and leave that man alone. Don't try and come to him with no financial burdens. Who the hell do you think you are? Because that's the only reason why a lot of you women are going to try and humble yourself. It's not because you're really sincerely repenting. It's not because you've really, truly, sincerely repented. It's because now all of a sudden, you want your rent paid, man. Because the tricks that you was doing to be able to pay it yourself, they've been cut off. So now you're having to try and come another way. And try and fake repentance, and rather than admit that you thought that was the right way, and you didn't care that you was being tricked, and you thought you was better than men, and the world's now finally humbled you and showed you that you weren't better than men, and you can't really handle doing this world on your own. Rather than admit that, y'all are gonna say we was tricked, instead of admitting your part in there, admitting that when you was doing these things and it didn't feel right, you didn't care, right, and still just did it anyway. You knew that you got told on several occasions that it's wrong. You knew it was wrong to sleep with a guy, have him when you know you got a man at home, to sleep with one guy, get pregnant, know that you got pregnant by that guy, and try and make another man raise a child up for 18 years. And then while he's raising a child now that's not his, and you know it's not his, right? And if he decides to go and do a DNA test, you catch your attitude and talking about what made you do a DNA test, bitch. You knew that you did that wrong. You wicked ass women that have did such things, you knew that you did that wrong. And then while you was pregnant with the guy, you was talking, smacking his ear. If he was a real man, you would have this. If he was a real man, you would have that. If you loved me, you would have this. If you loved your children, you would have this. You a deadbeat dad. A real dad would do this, and you already know damn well that it ain't even that child. That child don't even belong to that man. You all know that. But then y'all want to comment later on now in these times talking about we was tricked. What you on about, man? When y'all was running around talking about you want a 6-figure man, a man that makes this amount a year, that amount of the year, and you know that in your lifetime you've never seen one man that makes that amount of money that was truly interested in you, yet for some reason your body count's above 30. Obviously that standard that you're making is BS, because none of the men that you've ever slept with meet that standard. They had a nice ponytail, they had some nice cornrows, you like the way their eyebrows glistened in the wind, right? You like that he was tall, he had a 6-pack and was doing pull-ups at Rocker Park in New York. Yeah? He was shouting, if you want to build some muscle, do these. And you was getting gassed up and you went with him. He was a Rasta man, and you like the way that he swiveled his knees to the ground while listening to some raga music and that. Some Buju Banton in the background. Yeah? He was a Vasquez You like the way his sombrero was swinging, man, while he was riding a bull at the ranch. And you liked the way his muscles grew. It wasn't nothing to do no money things that he was talking, man. And then you women have gradually, as soon as you get older, started to have more demands. When if a woman, I understand, and every other brother out there actually understands why you women have these desires of all these things that you want from men, because realistically, you're only supposed to be with one man your whole life. So it would make sense that you would want want a lot of things from the man that you're with, right? Because then you're gonna be satisfied with that one man forever. But what the thing you women have did in this society is went with loads of men and tried to take the best of each man that you be with and try and think you can try and come with some NBA 2K create your own husband thing out here, and you know you can't, man. No, you can't. You can't try and think you can just create your own customizable man. So he's got to be 6'3" and then just put it in, and then he gets printed out of a 3D printer somewhere, and now he comes up to you and he's just charming and loves you. No, you've got to do what men have to do. Look at the batch of women that are on the earth, but you've got to look at the batch of men that are on the earth. And based on the actual people that really exist on earth, that's who you've got to pick from. You can't try and pick some imaginary person that don't exist. You don't get to do that just because you're women. And just because a couple of 6'8" nillers in the club clapped your cheeks once or twice, that don't mean that they actually cared about you. They hit you off because you was easy. Yeah. They would never want to be with you in a real relationship, man. And that's the reason why it was past way after hours when you and them were around each other, man. Because there would have been less eyes to see that, so he can be like, man, I don't know that woman. I don't know, but some of you women are such losers that in order to prove that you slept with a man, y'all will take pictures of him, take a selfie next to him in the bed while he's asleep, man. you know what I mean? Like we women are just completely lost, man. But now you want to talk about I was tricked? Nah, you don't get to come in on that, man. You weren't tricked. You knew the wrong thing, and you chose to do it anyway. Right? Verse 8, and they heard the voice of Yahweh walking in the garden in the cool of day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh among the trees in the garden, because they knew they did wrong, man. They could sense that they started to get a conscience, and it's like, man, we did something wrong here, right? We did something wrong. And Yahweh called unto Abraham and said unto him, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked and hid myself. And he said, who told thee that I was naked? So Yahweh wanted to know, how do you know that you did something wrong? How do you know what wrong is? Because I never told you right and wrong. You only knew one way. I never told you what's right, what's the wrong thing to do. So how do you know? How do you know what you did? Hast thou eaten of the tree where I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, the woman thou gavest to me, she gave me of the tree and I did eat. So even Adam was trying to copy the same thing, man. Now, she did deceive him, but even Adam was also guilty of letting her deceive him, man, because we know the right thing to do in this world too. And women's perversive ways can persuade us sometimes to do things that are wrong, man. Women are real persuasive in this world, right? Because they get deceived by Esau, and then Esau sends them out to try and deceive us, right? He'll send these women out to try and deceive us, man. And then they end up doing something dodgy and try and make men go the same way, man. They like crime, they like drama, so then they'll use men that they know can get access to it better than them. They'll use them. Oh, I think you should try and do this, and this to get this money here and that money there. They do that. Verse 12, and the man, verse 13, and Yahweh said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And Yahweh said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly thou shalt go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and between the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. Now, this is where people try and say, see, a woman can have seed. Back in Jenner's, mate, it just means offspring, man. Calm down, man. All you bug out Christians out there and you feminists, relax. When you look the word up, it just means offspring. Women have offspring, man. Just chill out, bro. Don't get too gassed up with yourself because you can't. Even if you want to say Eve produced seed, you know you've never produced none. A lot of you hoes out there have had a lot of seeds, but you ain't ever produced none though. So don't cap. Y'all know you haven't, man. Y'all know damn well you never have, right? You know damn well. And unto the woman, just give me verse 15 again. Between thy seed and her seed, thy offspring and her offspring, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Verse 16, unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. So Yahweh heard everything that was said. Okay, you say you was deceived, right? Okay, you're still getting this punishment though. I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy children shall be and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. So Adam still ended up. We're still above the woman now, still to this day, man. And we're gonna be right. We're gonna be, man. And her desire to try and chase something new, to try and think she was gonna have some power, it flopped. It backfired on her, man. It still backfired on her. And it's interesting that even though she knew that she was going to get a supposed level change up, that she still made Adam do it anyway. Because women are wicked like that, man. Women are wicked like that. Women will try and do something that they kind of knows kind of the wrong thing to do, but it can potentially have a benefit to it. But they'll be like, you know what? Let me bring someone else too. Let me bring some friends. So women will hear that. Oh, if you go to Dubai, and let them do a Dubai Harry Potter on you, right? A Dubai Harry Potter, right? You go to Dubai and all you have to do is lie down. He's going to shout some Arabic words for a bit, right? And he's going to use you as a human potty, right? But then after that, like, you're going to get 50K. I mean, it's a cracking deal. It's like, what? Couple of grand an hour? Like, it's cracking work. So after 2 days of you being in, like, if you take 24 hours and then 48 hours, that's like £1,000, £1,000 an hour. Like, you can't get that in the UK. You can't get that in America. That's how these women justify it in their bugged out minds, man. Cracking deal. Like, it's a great deal. And they'll, instead of just going themselves, they're gonna bring their pretty, kind of a bit still innocent friend and be like, oh, you should come with me, girl. You should come with me. We'll have a girls' holiday. And knowing damn well that she's trying to get her in on it as well, man. These women will have their female friends that they know don't drink alcohol. They'll spite their female friends drink. Y'all can say y'all don't all you want. We know what happens out here in this world, man. Y'all will get your female friend drunk so that she can be a hoe like you. You'll try and tell men that you know to try and chat this woman up or that woman up. See if she'll do it. See if she'll do it. Because I know I'm a hoe. And it was easy for me to just free out my legs and throw one leg to the left and throw one leg to the right. So let me see if every other woman will do it as well. Because you don't want to fall alone, man. You know that it's wrong to be a hoe, but you're already a hoe now. So now you're going to try and make another woman be one? To try and justify what you did wrong, man. That's how Eve did it. That's how women do. Still now to this day. Verse 17, and unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of Yahweh thy wife. Man, what the hell, man? How the hell did I read it like that? That's Satan, man. Verse 17, and unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Because now, when you want some fruit or some vegetables, there's got to be someone on the earth grinding, and farmers right now on this earth are catching hell. To be a farmer is a sorrowful life, man. It's a catching hell type of life, man. But in the past, if you wanted to just have something to eat from the ground, it just grew. And there's a good scene in the movie, which the whole movie ain't good like that, but like there's a good scene in the movie Noah that's got Russell Crowe playing Noah, right? Which Noah wouldn't have looked like that, by the way. Noah would have been a so-called black man. And even in that movie, it shows you the ground is dark in that movie. But there's a scene in that movie anyway where like one raindrops fall from the sky, just one singular drop, right, and hits the ground, right, and instantly a small flower grows up straight away. Like the water hits the ground one time, and a flower grows there straight away. Like doesn't take any time; it just instantaneously grows a plant there, man. That's how it would have been in the past. Things would have just grew. Yahweh had changed the settings. The settings of the soil were changed back then, man. Like just like how, like I'm sure brothers, I know I used to play it, man. A game called Age of Empires, right? Or those RPG games in general. And in those games, the kingdoms had to buffer, right? If you want to go from the Bronze Age to the Gold Age, it's got a buffer, right? Certain things when you're trying to upgrade the player, upgrade the warriors, upgrade the bolts, upgrade this, upgrade that, upgrade. They even had priests in that movie, in that game, that could heal people, right? When you used to want to upgrade certain things, you had to man. I was just thinking about that priest in the game, man. They used to have these priests in that game, and they would say these words or whatever, and they would convert people and bring them onto their and make them join onto their side. They would actually say these words and like convert the person, and they'd join and switch sides. They'd switch army. That's kind of, yeah, I remember that. But anyway, you'd have these players that would like these things that would have to buffer. But how it would have been back in the past was that there wasn't no buffering. There wasn't no you having to wait a few minutes for it to upgrade. It just happened straight away. And you how I had the settings and the soil and the settings even on men's lives different back then. Because men lived longer back then. But because he got annoyed with us, he changed those settings, man. Just like how for the children it is. Let me get that scripture. Genesis chapter 6. It is 6, no? I will not always strive with man. Okay, Genesis chapter 6 and verse 3. And Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 days. Right? So that's how when Yahweh just of his own choice decided to change the settings of men's lives. But there's also going to come a day where for the children of Israel, he decides to change the settings of the Israelite man's lives and the Israelite woman's life and the Israelite children, son and daughter's lives, man. And we're going to go way past 120 days. 120 years. We're going to become older than Methuselah. Methuselah being dying at 969 years old, he's not going to be that big of a deal anymore, man. Because there's going to be Israelites that go way beyond that. There's going to be an Israelite that be the first Israelite to go 9,609 years old, right? And 90 years old. There's going to be Israelites. This is why these Edomites are jealous of us, you know. This is why they're not going to stop doing everything that they're doing, because they know that there's going to come a time where there's 1 trillion Israelites that are above 1 trillion years old. There's 1 billion, and while there's that 1 trillion years Israelites that old, there's going to be 1 million Israelites that are above 1 million years old. Like there's going to come a time where that happens, man. And all this talk about the earth being overpopulated, it'll explain how that's going to happen and explain how the earth's going to be overpopulated, yet the children of Israel eventually, individual as a nation themselves, are going to reach greater than whatever the earth population is now. Whatever the earth's current population is right now, including every nation, there's going to come a day where just the Israelites are that number. Just Israel is that number. And then the heathen are going to be whatever number they're going to be. But just the Israelites are going to be greater than that. So how is the earth overpopulated? If there's going to come a time where there's a group of people on the earth that never die, that have to always come back to the earth, if only just for the Passover. Because eventually there's going to be Israelites that are born and they weren't even born on earth, man. Can you understand that? And this is why Esau hates our God. There's going to eventually be Israelites that are born on all the other planets of the earth. They wasn't born on earth. They'll come to the earth, but they're going to be Israelites that weren't even born on earth, man. And Christians will hear us say stuff like this and be like, "Oh, see, they're talking about space travel. They're talking about space travel. They don't know anything about space. Neither do you. You don't even know nothing about the basics of the scriptures. You don't even understand that you are what your father is, and that the mother's not relevant in deciding your nationality. You don't even understand that. Yet you think you can try and insult us on what we do or don't know. Behave yourselves, man. Relax. You're not the person that's the authority of the Bible to tell us anything. And here's another thing. We don't have to believe the Bible the same way as you. If we want to believe that God hates the Edomites, we can. If we want to believe that God only loves Israel, we can. If we want to believe that God decides what nationality you are by your father, we can believe that. If we want to believe that the MOTB is the micro CHIP, we can do that. If we want to believe that we're going to become immortal, we can do that. If we want to believe that God's going to give us revenge on our oppressors and make us own them like how they own us, we can believe that if we want to. And you can't tell us what to do. Right? If we work in your business or something like that, you can tell us what to do there. Because we have to go to our enemy for the want of all things. But once we clock out, you can't tell us what to do, mate. We don't have to listen to you anymore. And there's going to come a time where we don't have to clock in or clock out to anything that you have to do anymore, man. To anything that you've got to do with. You Edomites are thinking that when this society crashes, oh yeah, these Israelites are going to be begging for me. Actually, some of them are going to be happy to actually show you what they really think of you, to be honest with you. But that's what y'all don't understand. You think that everyone's just going to be begging to be friends with you again. Some people actually are looking for the opportunity to tell you Edomites what they really think of you, man. And not have to care anymore. But let's go back to this. Genesis chapters 3 and verse 17. And unto Adam he said, because thou hearken unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree which I commanded thee that thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow thou shalt eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face thou shalt eat bread, till thou return unto the ground. For out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and thou shalt also return. Now, there's a smooth scene, man, in the movie The Book of Eli, where he quotes this verse, man. And then he pulls out a big blade from the back of his, like, I don't know where the hell he pulls that blade out of, man. It's either from the back inside of his coat or from his armpit. I don't know where the hell he pulls that blade from. But then he pulls out that blade and just starts dusting off them people in that bar. Right? But the overall point of that verse is that because of what Adam did by listening to Eve, he was made to have to work for his food now. Right? He was made to have to grind and work for his, when before it was free. And that's what, it's interesting because that's what these women did. These women did that now. They got angry that the men work. They got angry that the men work and the men have all the jobs and the men have got this and the men have got that. Not even understanding that that was actually a punishment from Yahweh. That the men have to work and do all of these things, right? That's actually a punishment. But they got envious of it and they was like, we want to do that. We want to have these positions. We want to, okay, have it then. And now they're crying. Now they're crying about having it, man. Now they're actually angry and annoyed. Pardon me. Now they're actually angry and annoyed that they have these positions, because they thought that men had it and men was winning from having it, man. But it actually is a punishment. It's actually a punishment to have to be grinding all day to just be able to stay alive, man. It's actually a punishment having to work paycheck to paycheck. Most of the people in this world, they ain't having no good time because they got a job. But people have tried to make out like having a job is like some real, extremely glorious thing that you have to have the ability to have food and stuff like that. But in the past, we didn't have to do that. In the past, it was not that way, right? In the past, it wasn't. Verse 20, and Adam called his wife's name Eve because she was the mother of all living. Well, that's it on that point, man. Right? Now, a lot of these women, again, because they're catching hell, all of a sudden now they want to try and come with some, oh, I was tricked, right? He tricked me. But listen, man, while you was getting tricked, you did a lot of madness. You did a lot of people dirty, man. Like, a lot of women don't even actually understand how many men they've screwed over in their life. Like, and when I was watching one video about the woman that she got fired from her job or something like that, and she said, the man just fired me and he didn't even give me a reason why. He just told me I'm fired. Didn't even give me a reason why. Didn't even explain it. I was getting angry at her, crying, because I was thinking to myself, how many men has she did that to? How many men has she just upped and bounced from and didn't explain to them why? But the first thing a woman will say with that, oh, but that's relationships though. That's not a job, yeah? And you're supposed to care about your relationships more than you care about your job. But a lot of women don't care about their relationship more than they care about their job. They care about their job more than they care about their relationship. A lot of women actually care more about that. They don't really care what their man that they're with's got to say, but they care about what their job's got to say. And here's the thing: they want their job so that they can pay all their bills, but they want that man that they're with, that they disrespect, by the way, most of the time. They also want him to pay for their bills, right? So they should be respectful to that man too. Because all these women out there in this world, right? If they find out that the man that they're in a relationship with, that they're running their mouth to and being disrespectful, if they found out that he got a pay rise or came into some money, they're not gonna think he came into some money. They're gonna think we came into some money. And I've heard women before, just in public, talking to their female friends on the phone about how their man got a promotion, how their man got this, and how their man got that. I've heard from other women's voice that tell me about things that their female friends have did and all this, right? About how a man that they know has got this and got that. And then now they start talking about how they're going to spend the money. Not being glad for the man that he's made some more money. No, now they're thinking about all the things that they're going to do with his money. Refurbishments they're going to do on the house. Different clothes that they're going to spend and buy. Different ways that they're going to... And I'm thinking, hang on. So you're talking to another woman about your man's money and about how you're going to spend it when he hasn't even agreed to that. So how are you planning on getting him to buy these things and do all of these things that you want him to do? And then why is your female friend that you're talking to knowing about this? Because you're trying to show off. Because there's no need for her to know about this. You're trying to show off, man. And that's the reason why a lot of you women end up bigging up a man's life so much that it ends up making other women lust after him. And then you get annoyed when the man does what he's supposed to do, which is sleeps with your female friend. Because really, all you men that try and boast to your other friends about these guys, really supposed to be, there's not even nothing wrong with doing that. Yeah, go find one of your female friends and boast. And then after you've did all your boasts and say, yeah, you join up with us and become his second wife if she's single. But are any of you men going to do that? No, because you're a bunch of demons, man. You'll boast up to your female friend about how good your man is to try and make her jealous. But you won't boast about how good your man is to your female friend and be like, man, I think he would really think you're fit and attractive and hot, you know. Your body kind of like what mine is like. You know what? You should join up and become part of our family and become his second wife. None of y'all are going to do that. But you're prepared to quote a scripture about this and about that when it comes to anything else in the world. But you're not prepared to quote us them scriptures about how if a man have two wives, if, meaning that he can choose to have two wives, or he can choose to have one wife. He can choose to have 5 wives, or he can choose to have one wife. Because the same rule applies with that if a man have 2 wives, the same rule would apply if he has 70 wives. If a man has got 70 wives, right? The one that's born first, that's the one that's supposed to have the blessing. And the inheritance, a bigger portion of the inheritance, man. Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9, rise for women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. When I think about how women are going to suffer in this time to come, man, if it wasn't for how evil the women have been in this society and how I've seen the things that they do and how I've actually heard other men's stories and the things that women do, if it wasn't for how much I've seen how men grind their back into the ground to try and make some miserable woman that ain't never going to be happy no matter how much he does for her anyway, but he's killing up himself, stressing himself out, trying to work himself to the bone for some woman that's ungrateful and miserable as hell, but he's still doing it for her. If it wasn't for the fact that I've seen men do that in my life, I would actually feel sorry for these women when they get what they're going to get. But I've seen how proud y'all are, and y'all have been so proud above the heavens, man, that you deserve this judgment that's coming for you. You deserve it, man. And men are going to make sure that you get the judgment in this society. They're not just going to forget that you women were screwing them over. You women are going to you're going to try that. When men start coming to you and being like, hang on, how come you in front of me now? Remember back in the past? Because a lot of you women are going to be around the immediate community that you didn't respect before when this thing goes down. Majority of you are going to be around the community and the area that you've always been around, saying that the men ain't here. There ain't no real men around here. You're going to be around whatever area it was that you was ignoring certain men when you walk past them on the street, thinking that you're better than them because you had the ability to travel to another area where it might have been a bit sunnier over there. It was a bit nicer over there. There was a bit more money over there, right? And you was able to, rather than be a wife in the area that you live in, you was able to go and travel over into the next area and be a side chick. But it was 25, 35 miles away. But you'd catch a train, get in a taxi, a Uber, car. And it's now the houses and the properties there are a bit nicer, but you're a side chick there. But when it goes down, you might be in the area where you thought you was better than everyone else there. And those men are going to remind you that how you used to try and go on with them. And they're going to be like, why are you in front of us for? Why are you in front of me for now? Trying to ask me for bread, ask me for advice, ask me if I got any spare this. What you mean spare? I need all of it I can get. What you mean spare? There ain't no spare right now. Everyone's rationing. There ain't no such thing as spare. What are you talking about? And you women are going to try and come with some, oh, now's not the time to bring up all that stuff. It's chaos in the world. No. And then we're going to be like, no, now's exactly the time to bring up this stuff because now you're in front of me begging. But the only reason why you're in front of me now begging is because you can't get it yourself. So get out my face, right? Before it gets messy around here. That's what certain men are going to be telling you women. And you're going to experience a version of men that you've never experienced in your whole life. The testosterone levels of men are going to raise through the roof in this time. Even just as a self-defense mechanism, men are going to be going on extra masculine, extra hype with the testosterone levels, man. Even as a defense mechanism, they're going to have that natural hype in them, man. That they're going to be trying to let men know, yo, back up, man. Don't even get too close, man. Don't even get within a meter's reach of me. And the women are going to be knowing, don't try and come begging. Don't try and come to me begging for nothing because I'm not with that. Men ain't going to care about how pretty women are in this time. But women don't get it, though. They still don't believe that because women will hear that the way that we talk now and express how the dark day of the Lord's going to be. But then they'll go out as soon as they press pause and they go outside and show a little leg on the thighs and a little cleavage, right? Gal them leg out, gal them batty crease out, gal them chest out, put a bit of lip balm on, you know what I mean? Put a bit of makeup, foundation on and all that. Put a high heels on and go out on a Saturday night. They're not seeing the evidence of that because the men are like, oh, hey, she's fit as fat, mate. They're all upon them. They're all upon them. But that's now, though. That's when it's okay and you can get some food. But then make a situation break out where people are just getting unalive randomly. All of a sudden, a woman's big booty and a pretty face and her cleavage don't mean nothing now. Now everyone's gonna run and rush to get to safety, and maybe they'll help the woman that they know, maybe. But even that's not the society that we're talking about. We're talking about a society where every single shop now that has food, you'll be lucky if you find one tin of anything in there, because it's been so destitute of food for months that you'll be lucky if there's anything on the tins, man, on anything on the shelves, anything. And people got a little taste of that during the lockdowns, right? I saw shelves shut down and with nothing on them, but that wasn't even still it, because there was still when there'd be a group of shelves that are completely empty and nothing on them, but then when you walk down the next aisle, the shelves are full, and then there might be another shelf that's kind of quarter empty or 3/4 empty, but then when you walk down another shelf, another aisle, there's everything's there. So that wasn't even it. We're talking about when you go into the store, the light fittings are hanging off the roof, they're kind of sparking, bzz, 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 the lights flickering on and off, on and off. If you hear a sound of footsteps walking in the store, you kind of get scared because you're like, well, who is it? You're having to tiptoe. Normally, people don't tiptoe through Asda or don't tiptoe through Morrison's or flipping Sainsbury's. They walk bare proud, man, with that trolley, fast as hell, damn near almost hitting people in the way, pushing the trolley, not even looking in the direction that they're going. That's how people normally do it, man. Especially these women. They were pushing that trolley, with walking backward, turning that trolley in the aisle, damn near hitting men. Proud as hell. Just knowing that they're going to get all the foods on the store aisle to make the recipe that they want. They're stopping, looking at the back of the thing, checking all the ingredients. That's how they're able to move and maneuver now. They're able to take extra time when they get to the till finally and slowly pack every single item, slow as hell. Talking to the cashier about their stupid lives, what they got going on today, as if the cashier really cares. They just want you to hurry up so they can scan everything that they need to do for the day, so that their shift can be finished, so that they can be like, okay, and I only got to do this a few more times, that I get my monthly paycheck. They don't really care. But that's how people are used to it now, especially these women. Oh, yeah, and I've got a Nectar card. Oh, yeah, I've got points on this. Can I have a bag? Can I have a bag? No, not that. They're strong ones. That's how they're used to doing it now, right? Taking bare long. They saw that a man was waiting for the queue and that he only had one item, and it was like, forget that. I don't care. I'm a woman. He can wait for me. And then they're taking extra. They see that people are waiting, and rather than speed the fuck up. Now, and this is what I've noticed about you women and you Edomites, man. When you realize that someone's waiting in the queue, instead of speeding up, y'all demons take longer, especially if it's Jake, man. I've seen that about y'all. When you realize that you're making us have to wait on you, you like us having to wait for you. There's something sick in your head, man. And other brothers, I'm sure, might have seen this too. And if you ain't, now that I've said it, you might see. When they realize that making us have to wait for them, they don't speed up, they take longer. Then they know where their card was in their purse or their wallet. And rather than now speed up, they'll take extra time and try and look you in the face, hoping that they got on your nerves. And then try and come with some fake, sorry about that. No, you're not sorry about that. Because when you saw you was making us have to wait, you didn't speed up, you went slower. You demons, man. But the judgment, the vintage is going to fail. And y'all are going to have to pay back for all the pride that y'all did over the years, man. And you saying, I was tricked, is not going to be enough. Oh, I was tricked. Okay. But what did you do when you was tricked? How much wickedness did you do, man? Verse 10, many days and years shall be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. So remember all the things that y'all did. Get ready to catch hell. Don't be thinking that you're going to be gallivanting through the streets in Prada, Chanel, nice heels, You know, don't be thinking that y'all gonna be doing that. You ain't gonna be going to the thrift store. You ain't gonna be going to TK Maxx and hoping that you find a luxury item for the night. No, you're gonna be catching hell, right? Y'all are gonna be in this world catching hell, getting treated like the men that you thought weren't nothing. And a lot of you women are gonna get to have a taste of what it feels like to be told you ain't enough. Because you women are gonna have to be out auditioning. You're gonna have to audition to be with certain men, right? You're gonna have to audition, man. And all the women that ain't prepared to audition, okay, don't audition then. Goodbye. But you're gonna be made to audition. You know, like how you try and make men spin plates for you. Oh, so what is it that you can do? Why is it that I should give you the pleasure of paying all my bills? And he's like, yo, well, I work in finance and I do this and I do you do anything else? You do anything else? Oh yeah, I'm a musician on the side. Oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, I'll see if I can get back to you. And then you get the next guy in there. Okay, so why is it that I should give you the ability to pay all my bills? And then he tells you to start spewing out of his mouth why he's the right man for you as well. And then you like realize, well, the other guy, he looks better, but I don't actually think he really could pay all my bills. But you know what? I think that he'd be better in bed. So I'm gonna give him the bedroom fund. And then the other guy, he's gonna pay my bill. I'm gonna just keep spoon feeding him with a peck on the cheek for as long as I can until he gets bored. But then, oops, I got pregnant by the guy that couldn't pay all my bills. So now I'm gonna have to throw some to the other guy's way so that I can pretend like it's his child. That's how y'all do, man. And you think that Yahweh wasn't watching all of this. You think Yahweh didn't know that you was doing all of this kind of stuff and ain't gonna pay you back for the wickedness that you did on this earth? You think he ain't? The day of Jacob's trouble, all you women, don't forget Jacob's trouble. You're Jacob. You're part of Jacob, you know. You're one half of Jacob. Jacob's trouble includes men and women. You understand? You women are part of Jacob too. You women are Israelites too, man. But in your arrogance, you thought, now we're not. We're our own individual thing. We're black Shebrew Evites from the tribe of Evi. We're separate, man. That's what y'all think. And the proof of that is when you had Ice Cube saying he was trying to do something for so-called black people, and then the women was there talking, running their mouths, talking about, oh, but you haven't put anything in there for women. And he was like, black people is women as well. And he was like, nah, no, we ain't. So that's proof that y'all think y'all a separate, different individual group, man. You actually all think that. Verse 12, they shall lament for the teats, for the present fears, for the fruit of the vine, we was tricked. And when they're going to be saying all this, we was tricked, they're not going to think, it's hilarious, man. I can picture them now, man. Initially, when these women are going to be talking about we was tricked, they're going to be expecting to go into a relationship now where, okay, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to make you some food, the most basic meals I can make. Not going to be no gourmet stuff. You're going to go out and work all of the time now. Even though when I was talking like I'm with this shit, I was working. So I'm going to trade in now my 40 hours plus of work a week that I was doing to now stay at home and spend maybe, if I feel like it, 2 hours making you some food. And I'm only going to really do this for the first couple of months until I think I've got in good with you. And now that I've got you simping over me. And now I'm actually going to only make you some food when I want. And then now I'm going to start, after I've made you the food, talking about you can do the dishes. Now I'm going to start talking about you could make a meal once every now and then again too, if you want it. Now I'm going to start complaining that you're not at home enough. They're going to still think that they can try and come back slick. They're not going to think they're going to have to come humble. They're going to think that they're doing a man a favor if they allow him to pay all their bills. No, that's not you doing the man a favor. Because while that man's paying all your bills, he'll know that there was another man that didn't do that. There was another man, right, that you was giving him money. And you're not a virgin when the man's with you. You're not one. You're not a virgin. Right? Y'all not virgins, man. That's the thing about it. Tremble you women at ease, be troubled ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teats, for the present fields, for the fruit of vine. They're gonna be longing back for all them time where they was able to just get them nice things in life, man. They're gonna be longing back for that. They're gonna be longing back for all the time where they was able to just go like a nightclub for a woman is like a damn birthday party, man. It's like them being a little kid at their own birthday party. Everyone's just about them, especially if they're attractive. But even if they're not, it's just a place where they can get worshipped, man. They don't have to pay to get in. They don't have to buy any drinks. They don't even have to be a good person in there. And men are going to be auditioning. So no wonder they're arrogant. But the time's going to come where they're going to have to take that arrogance down a peg, man. They're going to have to take that arrogance down a hell of a lot. And they're going to have to do it sincerely too. They're not going to be able to come with no fake humility. No, real humility is going to be what's required in the time to come. Men are going to be able to smell fake humility. And if women start making any demands too high up in the heavens, men are going to get grieved by that because they're going to remember and it's going to come back to their mind, oh yeah, this is the kind of women that they was before all this chaos took place. If women initially first start being humble, but really it's what they're thinking, what men are thinking is them being humble is really just them not talking, right? Because a person's known by their speech, right? Men are going to get grieved by that. And even men that right now always try and make excuses for women, they're not going to make excuses because a lot of those men are going to be perished. A lot of those men are going to perish in the time to come because they're going to think, no, women shouldn't have to go and fight in war. I'll put my life on the line and fight in the war for them. So if it means that a woman ain't going to have to fight in the war, I'll fight for them. And they're going to fight for them instead, and they're going to perish. 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 33, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. They're going to mourn because all the men that was previously helping them and aiding them are no longer here, man. Because best believe there's more men in this world that think that the sun shines out of women than there's men that don't think that. There's way more men that really still believe that women actually got some kind of integrity and actually are not like what the Bible says they are, which the Bible says that the majority of them are wicked. 1 among 1,000, you won't even find being righteous. So what's the ratio then? Verse 34, in the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. A lot of men are going to perish trying to save women, man. Going to be on that Leonardo DiCaprio Titanic spirit, bare space on the piano, but he don't even want a left toe to get cold. So he's like, you know what? I'll stay in the dark, cold sea. And then you can just stay on the piano, love. You know what I mean? Don't want even a left pinky finger to get a cold breeze. So he hangs on the chords. You know what I mean? He's hanging on the piano chord keys while she's just on that piano, man. That's what a lot of men are going to try and be on in that time initially. And they're going to perish. Rather than feed themselves, they're going to feed that woman and die of famine. They're going to starve themselves out because they're trying to save some woman that they don't even realize was committing adultery on them when the world was like it is now. They're going to be trying, a lot of men are going to actually end up unalived, trying to help and defend a woman and her children, and that he thinks are his children, and they're not even his children really. It's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be crazy, right? Let me read verse 34 again. In the war shall the bridegrooms be destroyed, and the husband shall perish of famine. Now, let's take that point there and go to Isaiah 4:1. And in that day, some women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take our approach. Now, just because this is what women don't get, you know. Just because you now are ready to try and find a man, that don't mean that the man's trying to find your ass. And that's why when you had this whole Kevin Samuels show that he used to do, and you got this Kendra G now, which he Kevin Samuels parred off Kendra G so bad, right, when he spoke to her, that she tried to become him. He went in on her ass so bad that she actually tried to think she's him now and copied all the stuff that he says said on his show and stole his whole platform. Like a lot of people did. Right? A lot of people stole his whole thing, man. His whole way of being. They stole that. But he went in on her so bad. She copied his whole thing, man. But anyway, like, on that Kevin Samuels thing, a lot of them women used to think that now, just because they want a man, that now they deserve one. Or I'm ready to settle down now. Oh, I'm looking for a husband now. So where the men at? oh, now that the society's fallen, and now I'm prepared to even let you pay all. I'm prepared to now pay all my bills. I'm prepared to eat my own bread and wear my own. Oh, it's easy to say you're prepared to wear your own bread and eat your own apparel now that you know that you don't have to rent no houses no more because the society's fallen. Oh, it's easy to say that now you're prepared to just do your own thing and take care of your own self now because you know that the society's fallen and now people aren't expected to have to go to work and pay for bills. So it's easy for you to say that now, isn't it? It's going to be real easy for a woman to now that society, like, this is not, like, let me say that again, man. When the society falls, right, are we going to be expected to go to work and do a job? Are we going to be expected to do that? No, we're not. So it's going to be, are we going to be expected to have to take a woman out on a date? No, we're not. So when these women are actually even going to be saying, well, wear our own bread, and what's the bread going to be? Food. That's all it's going to be. Some food. I'm prepared. You don't have to bring me no food. I'm just going to find whatever scavengings I can find. You don't have to feed me. I wear my own apparel. What's the apparel going to be? In that time, some cargo trousers and a fleece. Like, what's the apparel going to be? Some boots, some shoes, a fleece, a t-shirt, like a little dress or whatever. What's the apparel going to be? Obviously, you're not going to be expecting man to buy you Gucci and Louis Vuitton red bottoms and all these, you know what I mean? Whatever the hell the brands are, man. You ain't gonna. Of course, you're not going to be expecting a man to buy you a Birkin bag in that time. Of course, you're not. The society's fallen. And if a woman did want a Birkin bag anyway, if the store's there and she can find it, they'd be able to go into the store and take it out. No one ain't gonna care. No one ain't gonna care in that time. Of course, y'all are gonna be prepared to talk about we'll wear our own apparel. There ain't gonna be nowhere that you're gonna need to wear the nice apparel then. So just because you women in that time are gonna think that now you're prepared to settle and humble yourselves, that don't mean that the men are gonna be prepared to take it, man. Because a lot of you women have got this arrogant thought in your head where men get what they deserve. Men just get what they're given. Men can't have no standard. You just get what you're given. But you can have standards though. But men can't. That's what a lot of y'all think. The men are not allowed to say, I don't want a woman that's a hoe. I don't want a woman that's fat as hell. I don't want a woman that's got no weird looking foot. I don't want a woman that's got, you know what I mean? I don't want a woman that stinks. I don't want a woman that's got a back wider than mine. You know what I mean? You don't think that a man's got the right to say that? So you're gonna think that when you say, like, there's a lot of women that are gonna say this. I'll eat my own bread. I'll wear my own apparel. You don't have to buy me no clothes. All I want to do is be your woman. You think that means that the man's gonna be like, oh wow, I've been waiting for some of them men are gonna be like, yo, and he's gonna be like, okay, get your own bread and wear your own apparel away from me. I don't want you. Just don't expect that just because you say these words that you're gonna get access to the man now. So, because a lot of you are not gonna. That's what you don't understand. A lot of you are not gonna get. A lot of you have been so proud. You've already been rejected by your house and don't even know it. And you're gonna be made to have to deal with this cold, dark world by yourself. And you're not gonna be able to find the ability to have your own bread and wear your own apparel. You're not gonna have the ability. You're not gonna have the skills necessary to do it. You're not going to, right? But y'all don't get that yet. Y'all still really believe that. Y'all still really believe that you can actually handle all the things that men do, and you in your lifetime right now, your main thing is trying to compete with men all the time. You're always just trying to copy men, and that's with all you men that you're trying to think you can try and break down the scriptures now because you're like a lot of women. We gotta know this, man. A lot of women are actually envious that we ever found out that we're Israelites, man. They don't like that we know that we're the Israelites. They hate it because it gave us a level of boldness that they don't like to see us have. It gave us a level of boldness that they wish that we never got, man. They didn't ever want us to know that we're supposed to rule the earth because they wanted to rule over us. A lot of these so-called black women, the only time when they thought that they could had any power in this world was by the evil and wicked way that they was able to treat the so-called black man. Because when they went to work, they was forced to humble themselves, right? When they was around the so-called white woman, they was forced to humble themselves with her as well. But when they was around Jake, they was able to tell him whatever they want to tell him and act like a Karen towards their own man. So they didn't ever want us to find out that we're supposed to be. And they were some of some of the women of our nation were some of the main scoffers trying to hinder the progress of this whole movement, of this whole doctrine being brought out in the earth. They were some of the main scoffers. When one of the elders does his videos on the scoffers that are saying this and saying that about the Israelites, it's still women that's most of the videos, man. Talking about y'all girls need to not talk to these Hebrew Israelites. Why are you saying that to them for? You don't know every single man that's a Hebrew Israelite. Why are you trying to make them think that they shouldn't date a man just because it's a Hebrew Israelite? That man could be the best man that they've ever had in their life. Should they be in a relationship with him? You don't know them men personally. You don't know them men from nowhere. But you're trying to tell them women not to do this and not to do that just because you had a bad experience. But you by you telling them women that, you could actually be making them get destroyed because them getting with that man could actually lead to them being upon them chariots. But because you don't like Hebrew Israelite men, you're trying to tell all women now to not date one. So you're really trying to also stop a man from even having a family just because he believes in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Because you're hoping that because he's a Hebrew Israelite, and that you can now smear that name and stop him from getting women because you're wicked as hell, right? A lot of you women have been the main scoffers of this thing, man. Running your mouths, trying to get up in men's face when if the society fell, you wouldn't never dare do that. If you really believe that these men would lean your jawbone, you would never get up in their face like that. But you really know that these men are not violent like you claim they are. But you're trying to do things to try and get them to get angry so that you can call the police on them because you're wicked. That's what y'all do, man. And I think I've went in on y'all enough in this video, man. But this was just a thing on pointing out that a lot of you women, just because you think or want to claim, oh, we've been tricked. Well, you didn't care when it was a trick, when you was able to win from it, did you? Just because you women humble yourselves, you got the like, this is just the warning, man. When you women really actually find out what it's gonna be, you better come sincere to those men that you try and come crying up to, man. Don't try and think you're gonna try and start becoming a financial burden on men that are already catching hell in this world. Don't start thinking that. Don't start thinking that you're gonna be able to try and question a man on who's calling him. You understand? Y'all women, I know this. I'm being serious when I'm saying this. You know, some of you women are gonna still try and think you can try and come to men, be lounging up yourself in where they live and that. And then if he gets a phone call, be trying to look over his shoulder at who's calling. Who's Shanice? Who's Shanice? Who's Jessica? What's some other names, man? Who's Laquandra? Or whatever, you know the fucking names, man. Whatever woman's name you can think of, man. They're gonna be thinking they can try and spy over man's shoulder and that, man. Spy over man's shoulder like Dr. Dre and Eminem in that one music video, man. You ain't gonna be able to be over man's shoulder. And an offense like that, he's gonna get y'all kicked to the curb. You ain't gonna be able to kiss your teeth when all y'all women ain't gonna be able to kiss your teeth when the day of the Lord's here and another woman that's attractive, or you could tell that she's gonna be attractive, where she comes up to that man saying the same line you said. So the man accepts you in when you came saying, I'll wear my own apparel. I'll eat my own bread. All I want to do is be called by thy name to take away my reproach. Will you accept me? And he's like, yeah, all right, come on then. And you're like, yes, I'm in. Yes. I'm going to be one of the elect. Yes. I'm going to get beamed up, hopefully, from this. Hopefully from this, I'm going to get beamed up. And then now they go through, you're following behind him and that for a while. And then you come through a few dark paths and escape. And you're like, wow, this guy really has got this spirit thing on him. And like, we've escaped about 10 scenarios now that we should have really perished from. But something about this guy, that he's just surviving everything. I'm staying close to this guy. And then another woman comes up now. And she drops the same line you said. I'll eat my own bread. I'll wear my own apparel. Only let be called by thy name to take a reproach. And you're kissing your teeth in the background. Dirty gal. What are you on about, man? I said that already. He's all, excuse me. He's already got 7 wives. And then you're turning around like, bitch. Why are you talking? You speaking for me now? Okay, now I've only got 6 wives. You're up. You're in love. And this woman, she's kicked to the curb, man. I don't know why she was getting out of line talking for. She started to get a bit of that feminism back in her, and you're gonna try and think you can try and keep up with the group. I'm gonna still follow you anyway. I might just freeze your feet, man, and you are stuck in the mud and ain't gonna be able to catch up, man. You're gonna have to humble yourselves in that time. You ain't gonna be able to start kissing your teeth. Another one. How many wives does he need? How many wives does he need? How many wives does he need? You ain't gonna be able to come in under that. I thought Isaiah 4:1 said 7 wives. This man's got 85. What the hell, man? What the hell's going on? Oh, a white woman, huh? Oh, a light-skinned black woman, huh? He must be colorist. He might hear your voice. He might hear your thoughts, man, and be like, you know what, man? You've came far enough with me. Goodbye. You'd be like, what do you mean? What do you mean goodbye? I'm following you anyway. And your feet just freeze, man, and you can't follow. Or the group just turned invisible to your eyes and you don't know where they went, man. I don't think you women actually understand you're going to be forced to be really sincerely humble or you're not going to make it. You're made to come in on that feminism, grabbing the grapes out of the sky, snapping the fingers, hand on the hip. First of all, you ain't going to be able to come in on that first of all. If any of y'all coming under that, first of all, before you even said before you even finished that first of all stuff, man, you're gonna be rejected because men's patience that are of the elect is gonna be wearing thin in that time, man. They're not gonna have the patience to hear none of that BS. Their patience is gonna wear thin in that time, man. First of all, the thing is, you ain't gonna talk all that. You got me fucked up. No, that's not gonna work in that time, man. All that BS. You're made to come with none of that. And this is a video as a warning, man. You're gonna have to sincerely be repentant to your actions. Not say, oh, he tricked me and now I can't pay my bills. I this and this and this and I need a man. No. Right now in the society, you could still just go and get another career or another job to pay yourself. When it really goes down, you're not gonna be able to try and think like some of you women think that you're gonna get fired from your job and then now end up in a better position by trying to make a man pay for your life. As if he ain't got no hopes and dreams and aspirations of what he wants to spend his money on. As if it's not actually a benefit in this world for a man to take on a woman's financial burden in this society, man. Especially considering she wasn't no virgin. Because it's clear in the Bible that a man will, for a woman that's a virgin, that he really loves and cares for, he'll be prepared to wait 14 years before being with that woman. Right? But women have become so wicked in this society that men ain't prepared to wait 3 dates to be with you women, man. They're like, if she ain't giving it up on the second date, I'm out, bro. I ain't you know what I mean? I ain't trying to. So how much have you women fallen in this world? And that woman that Jacob was prepared to wait for, she wasn't even an Israelite. She weren't even an Israelite, man. But I think I've went in on this topic enough now. Like, I didn't even plan on making it go an hour plus. Yeah. I'm gonna end the video there, man. You women better sincerely be humble, right? When it's time. Don't come fake humble. You're not gonna be able to try and come fake humble and think that you're just gonna fly to the top of the rankings in that man's eyes. And you're not gonna be able to try and get envious or jealous when another woman tries to get salvation by the same way how you got salvation, by the same way how you're trying to seek it. Oh, now you've humbled yourself and said, oh, you're prepared to be the second wife or whatever. And now another woman comes up and she's humbled herself and she's prepared to be the third wife. And now you've got an attitude. Now you've got an attitude because that man decided to be a merciful man and take on a woman and take her on as a burden, right? But now you've got an attitude that he decides to take on another woman as a burden, but you didn't have a problem when he was taking you on as a burden though, right? You ain't going to be able to do that. That's going to get you rejected and cast out of the group, man. And on that, I'm going to say shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.